excited as we hit record.
Yeah.
Excited enough that I am going to start off the podcast talking about video games.
Oh, God.
Just because I found a little case that I'd left on my desk that just turned up while still unboxing things from moving, because there's still stuff to unpack. I've found a big cache of DS games.
Ooh.
DS, 3DS games. I'm very excited. And as soon as I find my DS, I'll be able to use them, which I do think is knocking about somewhere. I just thought I'd have a look at what I've got live on the podcast.
Yeah, and what you got? What you found?
So it's a mix of 3DS and DS games for a little nostalgic journey through my little plastic case. I remember now, I bought these. Not all of these. I put some of mine in here, but most of what's in here I bought from a fan of mine who came to a wrestling show and was like, I got a small box full of DS games. If you bung us 20 quid, they're yours. So they're all unboxed, but I don't really give a shit about that. So I've got Zelda, A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a damn good one.
Bravely Default, which obviously there's that version on the Switch too, which is a decent thing. It's got some nice quality of life stuff on it, although one of the quality of life things they gated behind their shoehorn mini games on the Switch 2 one. Like, fuck that shit. I don't think I've played this one. I've got Golden Sun Dark Dawn.
Oh, that's a bloody good RPG, that.
I think I played a bit of a Golden Sun game. I know they're brilliant. Like, I've heard so many good things about them.
The original one on the GBA is by and away my favourite of that era of RPGs. It is a series that I would love to one day come back and get a full 3D console big budget revival, because goddamn, I love the Golden Sun games.
I need to check that series out. I tell myself that every time I remember it exists, because I have heard so much about it. So yeah, I got that. Speaking of RPGs, we've also got here Final Fantasy III, the DS one, that 3D remakey one. Final Fantasy, oh my god, such tiny words on the cartridge and such a fiddly fucking font. The Four Heroes of Light. That's, is that the remake of the first one?
I believe so.
Maybe? Let's have a look.
I think so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, cool. So I got that. I got Sonic Generations 3DS, which, if I recall correctly, was a different set of levels. Like, it wasn't just a straight port. There was a lot of games like that back in the day. Like the DS, 3DS, where you'd have a game that was called the same, but it wasn't a port. It was, like a portable reinterpretation of it. Which I kind of miss that era. But then I just kind of miss any era that was before this one. Even if it was really bad, because every era is just getting incrementally worse. For anything. Whether we're talking about video games or the quality and amount of beetroot I can get in a packet. I'm angry about beetroot again this week. Trauma Center Under the Knife.
Oh, classic.
Fucking quality. I have not played that one in over 20 years.
It holds up really well.
I'm sure it does. I remember being glued to that. One of those games that really actually thought about how to use what the DS was doing.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a game that couldn't have existed on a different platform. There's a version on the Wii that's, halfway decent. It's pretty good, but, the tactility of the touchscreen with a stylus just makes that game what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's practically, I don't want to say it's unplayable in the Wii version, but nearly. Emulated mouse and such, it's easy, but the Wiimote control on it's good, but it's not quite good enough.
Just in terms of immersion, hunched over a DS, holding a stylus, there's just so much more of a scalpel feel to it. Yeah, that's one of those rare precious games that 100% thought about the hardware it was on, which does suck for emulation. But, there are DS emulators and whatnot, but I don't think anything will quite capture that feel of playing the original. And I have the original in this case, so that's good for me. I also have Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, for the new Nintendo 3DS. Because it was too fancy for the old one.
A port that is genuinely impressive as fuck that it exists. It is not the version of that game I would ever recommend playing.
Yeah.
I feel the same about it as I did when the 2016 Doom got ported to Switch early on in the Switch's life, where I was like, did not think that was possible. Good on you. You put a good lot of work in. I would rather play it elsewhere, but
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, impressive, but you didn't have to. What is this one? Monster Hunter Ultimate for the 3DS.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm not sure if I've played that one.
It's a good one. You ideally want to be playing it on one of the 3DSs that has the little nub for camera control. Otherwise, it's a bit wonky to control. But if you've got, like, the little nub so you can do your second stick, it's pretty good.
Oh, God, yeah, I can imagine it being fucking unbearable without that.
Yeah. But I remember picking up the, second circle pad attachment you could get for the 3DS that, like, bolted on the back of your 3DS and widened it on the right-hand side to add, like, a whole second
Oh, God, yes.
Stick.
Yeah.
It definitely made it feel better to play, but it was weird having my console off-center from my controls.
Yeah. Heroes of Ruin, Nintendo 3DS. This was Square Enix's very, very capital L light Diablo-style game. Sort of dungeon crawler, loot droppy, all of that stuff for the 3DS. I can't remember what I thought of it back in the day. I did play some of this a few years ago, and I do have an odd nostalgia for it. It's more that it just represents a particular time period, so I get some nostalgia off it. As a game, it's fine. It's a distraction game. If you can't think of anything to do and you truly have nothing better to do, it does its job. One I haven't played, I've got it here and I really should, is Detective Pikachu.
Ooh.
I've not actually played it, but I have it.
It's got some charming writing. I think you will probably find the initial pacing kind of frustrating.
I mean, it's a Pokemon game.
I think generally it's an enjoyable title, but I think it spends a little long at the start. You know when you have a mystery-solving game, and because they want to gradually introduce you to the difficulty, the first couple of things you're trying to solve are incredibly fucking obvious to anyone paying half a bit of attention. But you still have to go through a convoluted number of steps to get there, despite being able to see it from the beginning and wanting to just kind of shout at it, let me say that that's the obvious answer. It's got a little of that at the start that can be a little frustrating.
Right. Okay. I am curious. I may, if I do dig out my 3DS, I may give that a poke.
I think there's an enjoyable game in there. Just go in with that expectation in mind.
Right. Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. Does much need to be said? It's Ocarina of Time, but with a new coat of paint.
It's a really nice port. I would really love those Grezzo ports getting an HD coat of paint and coming over to new consoles, because they're nice versions.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, there's not much you can say other than it's Ocarina of Time, but it's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice version. And I did like how it looked in 3D. I did quite like that back in the day. I've got Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
It is Animal Crossing.
It's the good Animal Crossing.
It is. I remember playing a lot of that one.
The thing I appreciate about that, as a person that plays a lot of Animal Crossing, but primarily plays it at night, it is basically the only game in the series where you can go to the little mayor's office and go, hey, make all the businesses be open at night instead of the day, because that's when I'm around to play the game. Stop having the businesses closed by the time I come online to play. Super great feature that should have stayed in the series.
I love it when Animal Crossing flirts with being considerate. That's good. Back onto, I got a page of DS games now. Super Princess Peach. The one where she gets through life by using her girly emotions and doing a cry.
It's a fascinating curio for people who've never experienced it, and a great insight into Nintendo and where they were at.
Yeah. From what I remember, not a bad game, but definitely an interesting case study
Not an unfun game if you can look past the very hard to ignore aesthetic choices.
Yeah. Super Mario DS, or Super Mario 64 DS. Again, not a lot you can say, I don't think. It's Super Mario 64. It's probably my preferred version just because of the extra characters, because you can be Wario.
I wish it controlled better because, content-wise, it is the better version of that game.
Well, yeah, if you get used to that element. Ultimate Spider-Man for the DS. I liked this one. I believe this is the one I'm thinking of, where you are Venom for half of it, and you use the stylus, the touchscreen, to, like, make tendrils come out of Venom and stab guys. It's like a side-scroller, kind of platformy beat-em-up type of thing. I remember quite liking it. There's Puzzle Quest, which feels like an obligatory thing to have in one's library.
Yeah.
It's Puzzle Quest. Then we get to the real fucking quality. The real fucking star of the show in Theme Park for the DS.
Ooh.
There are many ways to play Theme Park. I'm sure folks would say this was not the ideal one, but it kept me sane when I worked in that cab office. When I was in southeast London working in a cab's office late at night, having Theme Park on the DS, that got me through some long evenings. I do like it, and it's fun. I like that it's there. And the game next to it is the other game that I had on my DS that kept me sane in that very same job. Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Which I very much like.
Yeah, good
It is
game.
one of my favourites. Yeah, one of my favourite Castlevanias. Largely for the personal affinity I have for it with when it came out and like saving my sanity on a really boring and awful late night job. But yeah, quality stuff. Final page of games here. We've got the classic, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the new one. I've got Tomodachi Life. You're damn right I do.
I'm so ready for a new Tomodachi Life. That game is so fucking bonkers, and I had so much fun with it.
It's the only game in which I can put Jonathan Holmes in a mesh tank top and make him sing about, bumholes and things. You can make them sing about anything.
Yep.
I'm not a mature person. Mentally, I'm not a mature person. I am still endlessly amused by making the Miis sing songs about willies and bums.
I am so proud of Nintendo for not putting any kind of content filtering on that game. That's the one thing I'm holding my breath for the sequel, is please tell me you've gone in with the same level of, we take our hands off the wheel and Jesus will drive for this bit.
Yeah, I'm not too hopeful. Like, it's a different Nintendo, but I do still have hope. Like, I want, because it will not be the same if they put a bunch of like filters and blocks on what you can say.
I think they have to understand that is the case. And you know what gives me hope that will be the case? What's the other one? The RPG that you put all the Miis into that got a re-release on Switch recently.
I can't remember the name of it, but I remember what you're talking about.
You know the one I mean, yes.
Yeah.
The Mii-centric Nintendo published one that's an RPG, got ported to Switch. That also didn't put back in the content filters. It left it so you can be as rude as you want in it.
Okay.
Which gives me hope that Tomodachi Life might be on the same track. Miitopia's the one.
I will very genuinely factor that into my critique of the game if they put filters on it, because I'm sorry, like, it's a big part of the fun, is you really can make them sing and talk about anything.
The port of Miitopia gives me hope.
Yeah. So fingers crossed, because it defies comprehension. It feels like a real throwback to like obscure Japanese PlayStation games, where it's like you look at it and you're like, what the fuck is this about? And I guess it is a video game, but it really plays with our understanding of what one is. I'm all for the new one coming out.
Yeah.
Super Mario 3D Land.
Damn good game.
Solid game, good stuff. Yep, happy with that. I got last four now. Theatrhythm, Curtain Call.
Yeah.
I'm a big Theatrhythm fan. I've talked about it on this podcast a lot. So yeah, just great. really happy with that. DS, we've got Geometry Wars Galaxies in here. I remember Geometry Wars. That was very closely associated with Xbox for a long time because it was one of the big XBLA games when it was all a new thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still got a nice art style. Like a lot of games I think have developed off of that kind of thing these days. But it's a very strong art style. Zelda, Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass. I once played that. I don't think I'll ever want to again. I understand a lot of people like it. I think they tried to make the stylus do too much. I think they put such a burden on the stylus, and I was like, mate, stop rolling. I want you to do one of the other dozen things I'm supposed to be doing with this thing.
I agree. I really enjoy it as a game, and I wish that we would get a modern port of it that, much like Skyward Sword, offered a no motion controls mode. Traditional controls port of Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks, I would be very open to.
Yeah, it's one of the games that really got me thinking about how we can overburden control schemes in order to push a tech that doesn't need demonstrating. I've always been of the belief that whether they're motion controls or touch controls or things like that, the subtle approach is always the best. To bring up what I've brought up many times over the years, I still think the best use of a touchscreen I ever saw was a grenade button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen in Unit 13 and Killzone Mercenary. They just use the edges of the touchscreen to extend your available buttons. On the Wii. Don't get me wrong, Wii tennis and all of that, Wii Sports, all good stuff. But still, for me, one of the best uses of the motion controls I ever saw was Twilight Princess. Shake the nunchuck and he rolls. That's it. That's all it needed to be. And I'm playing Kirby Air Riders at the moment, and also just shaking one of the Joy-Cons to do the spin attack. Certainly a fuck sight better than the way they want you to do it by default. It can always just be that simple and that good. The last game, just to close this off, this one's so straightforward and simple, I don't think anyone could do better than describe it in like a very quick and easy sentence. Flower, Sun and Rain. Discuss, everybody.
Very basic. Nothing complex about that
very
at all.
Straightforward. I tried to play that once.
Me too.
I ended up consulting a guide so much. It was one of the few games where I'm like, you know what? I think I really would get the same out of just watching a YouTube video about it. I came to that one only a few years ago. You know, my first experience of Grasshopper's stuff was Killer 7. And Killer 7 is still one of my best games.
Right.
I think that game is fucking brilliant. And then the studio's had hits and misses for me ever since then. When it hits, fucking hits. When it misses, it quite dramatically does so. And that one, it's the kind of thing where you describe it as interesting and you can hear the italics in your voice. It's an interesting game. I can't describe it any more than that. It's just fucking weird.
It's like a mystery game with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My main memory of that game is having a character in the DS version just look down the barrel of the camera and just say, "I'm having that DS feeling."
Oh, God, you absolute. Oh, God. I tell you what, right? Grasshopper Manufacture. I think they're the only game developer where I would use the word hack as a compliment to describe them. Because that's one of my favourite insults for my fellow creatives, because so many of them are fucking hacks. Hello, Treyarch. But every now and then I'll experience something in a Grasshopper game, and half of me will be like, you fucking hacks, and the other half will be like, you fucking brilliant bastards. So yeah, they're the one studio where hack, I think, is a positive. There's something about the way they embrace their own rampant shamelessness that really works. And I've just remembered that there's that Let It Die sequel coming out soon,
About
isn't
to come
there?
out.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to keep an eye on that. And that was my little tour through this little case of DS games. I thought that would be quite a fun discussion.
And it was.
I enjoyed
Look at
that.
that!
I enjoyed
We started the episode dead on with 20 minutes of Steph talking about video games.
Boom! Boom!
Unbelievable.
Mate.
Welcome to Podquisition.
Boom.
We're here.
Hell yeah.
Demonstratably, we talk about video games sometimes.
All the time. We've never
apparently.
not.
Yeah. Do you mind if I jump in now with some games? Because I found a couple of games I'm real excited to talk about.
Laura,
this week.
I would be offended if you didn't start. I would scream and eat a brick if you didn't.
Neither of these are ones that are going to take too long, but they're both like real gems of this year that like I did not notice them when they came out initially. So end of the year, we're coming up toward like Game of the Year season and stuff, and I've had some folks asking me for input on like nominees for disability representation and accessibility categories for some awards things. And that has required me to go, let me just dig through my email inbox for every interesting looking game that I didn't make time for this year that looked like it might be accessibility or representation relevant, and try and give them a bit of time and see whether I need to be considering them in end of the year stuff. And I found two bloody gems this week. The first one is maybe 15 minutes long, half an hour added on to the end of that if you want to go back through it with developer commentary. I do think the developer commentary is worth exploring. It is called An Unplayable Game. And it is a maybe 15-minute long game, if you ignore the developer commentary stuff, that is a side-scrolling platformer designed to help non-disabled people understand what the experience of playing video games with a disability, in this case a motor control or coordination disability, what that experience is like, and what it means for when disabled people say, accessibility is not about making the game easy for me, it's about making it technically playable.
That's a really good idea. Like that's a great concept.
So, I don't want to say too much, but the core concept here is when you start this game, there is a TV in front of you and a controller on the table in front of the TV. It's not made explicit, but the way I would interpret this is you are playing as someone who is only able to play this video game basically using one finger at a time. You are using a mouse and pointer, and a mouse and a click button to operate a D-pad and a B button and an A button. And obviously, it becomes very apparent very quickly, you are not going to be able to, with the ways you are physically capable of interacting with this controller, do things like hold down the run button while holding right to be moving right, and then also press A while mid-jump to do a jump. Like, that is just physically not going to be available to you with the controls available. You can try your best to be like, click on the moving right, and then very quickly move over to clicking A, and then very quickly move back to clicking right. And you might be able to get some of the early stuff done that way, and it very quickly becomes apparent you have a hard barrier. This game is just not playable. And the game has some accessibility settings built in. Right? That when you start turning on, like, even with them turned on, the game is not easy to complete. It is still challenging, but it becomes a different kind of challenge.
This is what I have been screaming at Dark Souls Get Gooders for years.
Right?
That, yeah, it doesn't make it... If you need those settings, it doesn't make it easy by your standards.
Yeah, because obviously, like, if you could pick up this controller and use two hands and press all of the buttons, yeah, it would be very simple to do jump and move and maybe hold down run button. But if you cannot engage with multiple inputs at once, that is just not doable. And when you start putting these accessibility settings on, it's a different kind of challenge. It is more a challenge about, like, queuing up controls in a sensible way and understanding, like, if I, say, toggle on the run button, and one of the options is the game only moves when you're holding down a direction on the D-pad. So you're like, okay, I'll toggle on run, I'll start running my character with the D-pad, and I've got to work out, like, where do I need to be jumping to land on the place I need to land on correctly, so I'm, like, assessing my arc. Stop running. hold down the jump button how long I think I'm going to need to hold to get the right height, go back to holding the D-pad, see whether you correctly arced that jump. That is not an easy thing to do. It is a different challenge to what someone who was playing without the accessibility settings would be having, but it is still a challenging experience. And, like, this game absolutely fucking nails, I think, it's not one-to-one with the disabled experience, but it gets to the heart of why accessibility stuff is important, and why the people who say, oh, just get good, are fundamentally misunderstanding. Sometimes it is not a matter of getting good, it is not physically possible for some people to, quote, get good with a game in its default configuration. But I also want to shout out the director's commentary stuff that's in there. There is some really good open insight from this developer on their design choices, and there is maybe one thing I want to highlight as like my favorite thing I learned from the developer commentary, which is the developer added one developer commentary note after release to talk about and acknowledge the fact that he's got a pixel art font in this game. And he thought during development about the fact that he probably should offer an alternative font, and then he couldn't quite work out how to do it and went, it's not that big of a deal, I won't bother. And then got critique about the lack of it from people who needed it after release. And it's a very open and frank conversation about, like, even someone making a game about accessibility had a blind spot about how big a thing was going to be for someone. And I really appreciate that, like, level of openness and acknowledgement about his own failings in making what I consider a fantastic work about getting non-disabled people to understand accessibility concepts. This is a completely free game on Steam. It's maybe 15 minutes long. Mechanically, I think it conveys this whole thing better than most conversations about accessibility, and I really want people to check it out.
Nice.
Brilliant. Like, that sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. While I'm on the talking about disability stuff, you're right if I jump into the other game I want to talk about quick?
Please.
Oh, sure.
I started playing through, and I've not completed it yet, but I've really loved what I've been playing so far. A game called Wildwood Down, which is a point-and-click adventure game where you are playing as a protagonist who has Down syndrome, who was written in collaboration with and is voice-acted by a person with Down syndrome. And this point-and-click adventure game is you and your sister and your friend and one of her friends. It's senior year of high school, and you're going down to like a spring break equivalent. And the hook is, your friend ends up dead on the beach and your sister goes missing. You are trying to solve the death of your friend and the mystery of your missing sister, while interacting with a world of characters who will sometimes pose barriers and sometimes not, based on the fact you're playing as a person with Down syndrome. It is a really sweet and really funny written game. It's got very solid point-and-click puzzle design, but it really excels as a game that understands the breadth of different ways that being a character with this kind of disability will make some avenues of investigating this mystery more difficult, and in some ways you can maybe use people's conceptions of you to your advantage to do methods of investigation you maybe couldn't otherwise get away with. It is a fascinating game. I'm really intrigued by its occasional use of live action cutscenes. The art direction to it's really nice. I don't want to say too much more about it. There is a demo for it that's on Steam that's maybe first 20 minutes or so that gets like the demo goes up to where like the oh shit, we got to solve a murder and a disappearance. I am really bloody loving this game. I don't want to say too much else. I want to put this on people's radar as a thing they should be checking out. So yeah, these are two just real good games I found this week that I am really glad I came across, and I want to nudge people to check out.
Nice.
No, they sound really good and like really worthy things to, especially, you know, for people who talk about this stuff a lot.
They're two things that, like, I wish I'd found them earlier, and I'm glad that they haven't been off of my radar, they got on my radar before the end of the year. But what about you, Conrad? What have you been playing this week?
I have, and I've only just started this, like, I've played less than 2 hours, but I've started playing a twin-stick shooter called Sektori. Sektori. This is a single-person developed game in the vein of a Geometry Wars. The developer is a former Housemarque dev who worked on Resogun.
I can see that looking at this.
Yep. And it's neat. It combines a deck building element and a Gradius style upgrade system, which is really an interesting combination. So you have this small environment and enemies spawn in, and it's a twin stick shooter. I don't know how basic I need to actually get with the explanations and the mechanics of a twin stick shooter, but in addition to your move and aim, you have a dash attack that recharges. And as you kill enemies, they drop experience nodules, similar to score nodules in Geometry Wars, that you'll want to collect. And as you fill the bar on the experience, it ticks up from one upgrade to the next in a specific list. And you'll have an increase to your score, or you can replenish your shield, which count as basically your lives in the game. You get improvements to your dash attack, improvements to your basic blaster, missiles can be added onto your attack. So there's just a range of these things, and they sort of tick up. And it's not super clear. The game does not fully explain itself. There is an element of discovery through play, which is appreciated. It tells you everything you really need to know in an opening tutorial. So it's the sort of experience of, it would have been nice to have known this thing before, but I don't know that I would have actually benefited anymore. And now I know it and it's useful. That kind of mentality sort of permeates it. Which is to say, I think when you tick over the full list of upgrades is when it spawns a different environmental object that you can collect, and that presents you with your decks. These are predetermined selections from the beginning of the run that you've made. You have 8 of them available, and 3 are presented to you at random, and they function like booster packs. And you open them up, and they will add in cards that you might then draw on subsequent upgrade pulls of this nature. And they will do things like add drones, or provide opportunities to improve other abilities, create formations for your drones, increase maximum levels on any of your various upgrades that you can get, increase the range at which you collect resources. And sometimes when you draw from one of these decks, you'll get an improved version that comes with a temporary negative applied to it. Like, you don't have any shields until you've killed a certain number of enemies, or a increase in the number of enemies that you'll have to contend with for a limited amount of time. So these are really inject a lot into the experience. And then you have that dash attack. There's a mechanic with it where you'll basically dash and does a little explosion where you stop, and will eliminate any enemies in the vicinity of that, so you can't take damage. But if you use it to go into one of the upgrades or power-up items situated around the field, or score bonuses, it will do the detonation and kill the enemies, and immediately recharge your charge attack. So you can chain from one to the next once you get a few of these out here. Now, as you're doing this, the map is changing constantly. You will get visual indicators of areas that are not going to be safe for you to be in within a few seconds, to give you time to move out of them. And then the map changes, and now you'll have new barriers to contend with. This will sometimes result in lost upgrades, so you do want to be somewhat quick in getting to them. I do like that the game has visual indicators to point you in the direction of power-ups if they're not on screen. I mean, even when they are on screen, it does it. But it's nice that it will let you know that, hey, that shit's out there and you should probably go get it. And then there's a boss at the end of a series of waves of enemies, and the bosses are big and bright and have a ton of target points to hit. It is an aggressive, tense game with a lot going for it so far. But like I say, I'm only 2 hours in, but if you're looking for a dual-stick shooter, you like Geometry Wars, you like Resogun, this is applying a lot of popular game mechanics, deck building, and the like into what was already a solid gameplay system, and it works really well. There's tons of little shit in it. I didn't even mention it has like one of those old arcade, you have to collect all the letters in a word thing to get a power up. You'll occasionally get spawns and it'll cycle through the letters in a word, and I've seen 2 of them now, and I've only accomplished it once, and then it sent me into some sort of ridiculous overdrive mode where I'm blasting enemies with all of this ordnance, and it went fairy acid trip for a second, and I'm not saying that that's why I died, but I did die almost immediately after that happened. But great banging techno music. This is fun. I'm digging it. I'm really looking forward to digging more into it over the next week or so. And it's got like half a dozen gameplay modes, and then a range of accessibility options for visual indicators and things like that. For a game that has this much like visual activity, its use of text is effective enough that I can, like, it pops out so that you can quickly read it when it wants to tell you this is a thing and give you some instruction. Useful. Just well designed, well executed, and I'm looking forward to digging into more Sektori.
Excellent.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Steph? What have you been playing this week?
So the main thing I've been playing this week is Kirby Air Riders.
Same.
I hesitate to call that a racing game. What that is, that's a racing game adjacent activity center. It's right. In a just and fair world, right? The team that made Mario Kart World will have played that and then put out a statement saying, "We just played Kirby Air Riders. We're sorry, everyone. We didn't realize games could do all of that." I am very impressed. Like, okay, it's $70. I don't think any game should charge that much. This is probably the closest game in that bracket of pricing where I felt like they've actually tried to earn it.
This is Masahiro Sakurai's whole bag. Like,
yeah.
you look at like the recent Smash Brothers games, his whole thing is, what if I took what would be a reasonable amount of content to put in a game of this genre, and then what if I doubled, tripled, quadrupled that, and then threw in a bit more just in case?
Yeah, I mean, you play this and there is absolutely no doubt that this is a Sakurai game, and very much clearly like a pet project, like a real labour of love. Nintendoman58 on my Discord server mentioned that there was some rumour that fans had been putting out that Sakurai didn't like the Kirby series, and I think they're blaming Sakurai for Nintendo, because I think Nintendo were the ones that always wanted him to just do Smash Brothers.
I guarantee you that rumor is not true. If you've looked at any story mode for any Smash Brothers ever, it is very clear that Sakurai likes Kirby, because Kirby is always the one character who survives the apocalypse and is the only reason anyone gets to survive a Smash Brothers.
I think it's very much fans just wanted a face to blame for the Faceless Corporation's treatment of the Kirby series. Because, you play this, and you will come away from it thinking Sakurai is in actual romantic love with Kirby. It's got some real deep cuts in there, in terms of what's referenced, in terms of playable characters. It should say a lot that the weakest part of Kirby Air Riders is the air ride mode. That's the bit I find the least fun, because I actually don't think its strength is as a pure racing game.
Yeah, because you started this by saying that you didn't think this should be called a racing game, and I was going to agree with you for an entirely different reason, which is that air ride mode It's unwieldy as fuck. It is the pure air ride mode is, what if we strapped you onto a really fast roller coaster and expected you to be able to keep up with driving? It is it is weirdly, a journey.
It's not balanced at all.
I love it, but it's a chaotic mess.
Yeah. I've not found it fun when I've been trying to like check off some of the challenges and stuff in the air ride mode, because I found that even though I've like played with the settings to like strengthen the sort of tailing boost that you get and stuff, I find that in a lot of races, once you're locked into a position, because everyone ahead is sucking up all of the enemies and getting all of the speed boosts, I find it really hard to catch up. But and just like you say, it's very chaotic. It's messy. But that's not what this game is. And Sakurai, I think, has said, like, that's the main draw is not what the game is named after. But before we go on to what is the main event, and it is a very good main event, the amount of extra fucking shit that's in this, separate to all of the main air riding and everything that uses that set of physics and that camera perspective, there's the top down, which I do believe was in the first one, but they've really sort of added to it, and it's basically there is an entire sub game in here that is micro machines style racing, where the camera is looking down and you go on the track with a different set of controls. I love those. That feels like a more sensible racing experience than air ride.
I half the time wish I could have like a midpoint between those two perspectives, because just being a bit more zoomed out really does a lot for the playability of a lot of the stages.
Yeah. I genuinely, because I thought that the top-down shit was... Because there's a single-player story mode kind of thing called Road Trip, and that takes you on a very breezy tour through some of the other game types. And when I first played, because I never played the first one, like Air Ride, I just expected the top-down racing to be a throwaway thing that they threw in for some variety. And then I saw that there was an entire fucking game mode with its own set of fucking maps, own set of challenges, like all of this shit. That's just an entire thing. Top-down racing is an entire game in and of itself. Then you've got the Road Trip, the single-player thing, which is fine. It's got some of the issues of air ride, like the main air ride racing. Some of those levels are just frustrating as fuck, especially the ones where the race puts you in media res and just says, good luck catching up, tosser. But it's got some moments, and I have found it a nice bit of filler. Like, it's a nice time filler between things. Then you've got... I don't know where to go next from this. There's the gummy mode, where you just collect gummies of as you defeat things and earn things. You get gummies in the shape of vehicles, and there's just a mode where you can hold a sword and scoop them and throw them around. There's the My Machine, which this is where I was thinking, God, they are putting Mario Kart to fucking shame here. All of the vehicles, which are wildly imbalanced, and that part is where I think the imbalance is actually good, because they are so inventive, some of them. You've got one that transforms between a bike form and a hovercraft. You've got a big tank. You've got one that only works if you use the boost charge, and it uses the charge meter as fuel. Really inventive, creative stuff. You've got... And just, I love the idea that, one of the big gimmicks is you can glide. You can go off ramps and fly. But there are vehicles that just have no flight capability. One of my favourites is the wheelie bike. It's just a unicycle. It doesn't fly. but you can still get on with it, and there are enough game modes to account for that.
There's one vehicle that it's just like you fired a ping ball and you just have to hope it goes.
Yeah.
You got the ones where it's like, you can't accelerate while moving, you have to stop entirely, charge up acceleration, and then move again.
Yep. Here's one that will never stop moving. Its entire thing is
Oh god, yeah.
it controls like a car in GTA 4. Have fun.
Yeah. Here's one that's like by far the fastest vehicle in the game, but it turns for shit. Have fun.
Yeah.
Try and turn if you want.
And the thing is depending on, and we'll talk about City Trial because that's the main event, but like,
Yeah.
if you get the right scenario for that car,
Yes.
I say car, that vehicle, you're fucking laughing. And that's the thing, is some of them are so case specific, but if you can engineer it to get to that case, it's great. But yeah, the My Machine mode, like, there's an in-game shop and you drown in in-game currency, and obviously there's no microtransactions, all of that. But I've already unlocked all of the hats that are in the shop, because of course there are hats. And you've got full colour control, like colour sliders and everything. You can make those vehicles any colours you want, with multiple different patterns and accessories. Like, you can give your car a big waggly dog tail if you want. It's all good. On top of that, there's paddocks. And I only just dipped my toe in that. There's just you can, if you want, engage with the game using a hub that other players can just join and hang out in, and you all just play races together. Like a private game, but it's a private game anyone can sort of wander into the lobby of. And I was like, this is such a throwaway thing, and it's buried in the menus. Like, it's not front and center. And to my great surprise, there are multiple full paddock lobbies. Like, you will find games. Like, I was expecting to find no online players for the top-down mode. I'm like, no one's going to be, like, focusing on... Nope. I think part of it is just how savvy they've been with the rewards, because you are constantly given unlocks for shit. It's not just a bunch of fucking stickers like in Mario Kart World. New characters, new hats, new machine parts, new all sorts of shit. And people, I think, have felt truly encouraged to engage with every part of this, which, again, is why I call it an activity centre, because if I don't feel like racing properly, there's half a dozen other things I could be getting on with and still stay in that game's ecosystem. So the paddocks, I think, is where it really... Actually, no, paddocks is not the great example of what this game is like. The great example of what this game is like is that you can sell your cars and you don't get any money for them. You just do it for fun. And the prices go up, which Sakurai just said he did because it's fun to watch the prices of them go up for no good reason. That is brilliant. That is just... Yeah, I put some cars up for sale. I don't know how they've done. The game doesn't tell me. But I could spend 100,000 coins on someone else's car design that I could make myself. Absolutely bonkers. And this is all before we get to the part of the game that's actually really good, which is City Trial, which again was... I do understand it was in the first one, and I'm so glad Sakurai thinks it's the main event, because I'm like, I always assume that the racing bit is going to be the main point of the game, and that's all anyone's going to care about. And I'm so glad that's not the case, because I love City Trial. For those who don't know, it's... The first part of the game is a big open city space full of power-ups and random events, and you run around it scooping up as much as you can to boost your vehicle stats.
To the point that you can make your vehicle stats, like, completely unwieldy. Like, you can set your acceleration so fast that you are struggling to pick up more power-ups because you made yourself too fast.
Yeah, I've gotten so fast before that I don't know what's happening anymore. And that's the first part, and then you're given a choice of 4 game types, which could be like a combative deathmatchy kind of brawl thing, or scoop up, like gourmet race. That's the gourmet race and the button races are the ones I'm really good at, where it's like just hit more buttons than other people on the road, or scoop up more food than anyone else. or straightforward races, or a big co-op fight against a raid boss, stuff like that.
And you're voting for stuff that's like, oh shit, what power-ups did I manage to find? What is my vehicle and combo and set of power-ups going to be good at? To give yourself the best advantage of, like, kind of being able to cheese a win out of, like, I have the perfect vehicle for that minigame today.
Yeah, and what I love about that is you're not voting for it.
Yeah.
You get the one... The only chance-based bit is which 4 of the many different game types you'll be given. Because after everyone's done fucking each other over like crabs in a bucket, only the people that choose the game mode they want compete against each other. So everyone then just goes off. So you really can maximize your chances of success.
But you're probably going to be up against other people who've maximized for the same minigame.
Who've done the same thing. Which I love that. Like, there's just something about that mode that I absolutely adore. Not just that I win it a lot, mostly if the gourmet race comes up, or the button one. Because I always build for that, because I know what I'm doing there. But there's just something about that structure. I love the idea of everyone scrabbling and competing to get as strong as possible, and then preparing for a big final showdown. I love that as a structure anyway, and I like it when I've seen that in similar games. But the idea that you then partition, that you then go into what you're specialised at and just hope you did better than the few people who did it as well. There's just something special about how that mode feels. And I've been increasingly glued to it. And again, just to point out, like, the what's gone into this game, it's not even the only way that manifests, because sometimes, rather than be given a choice of 4 events, it tells you first what one event you're all going to be competing in. And then the script is flipped in terms of how you treat the city part, because now you're competing to find the right build for that. Which it doesn't happen often. It's just a random event. And then within the city area, there are so many other random events. Like, oh, here comes a boss that you can all try and fight to get power-ups off it. Or if you're Steph, you use the fact that everyone's grouped together trying to kill a boss to hit them all with area damage and steal their upgrades. You really profit off that. Or like, oh shit, all of the boxes now suddenly contain the same item, or meteors are falling on everyone, or, like more vehicles have turned up, or destroy the vehicle. Like, just, I love how this team, because I always try and shy away from just putting it on one person, but like Sakurai and his team and Hal as a developer, I love how they think, and I love their approach to game design of just, it's such a kitchen sink thing. And you mentioned Smash. The other thing this reminds me of is older Kirby games, specifically, and Nintendoman again, who's been talking about this a lot on the Trash Palace Discord. Basically, it makes me think of Kirby Superstar. And Nintendoman pointed out that, like, considering how many references to Superstar is in this game, that might be a purposeful thing. But, Superstar had a main campaign, quote-unquote, and then a whole bunch... It was more than one game stitched together. And that's what this is. It's every element, except the one it's named after, is... really has so many good points. Road Trip, I have some issues with, mostly let me change my fucking vehicle without having to go to a rest stop or lose first. I get very frustrated by being locked into a vehicle for however long, and just some of the individual missions really piss me off. But it's still surprising. There's a new game plus on it, like, for fuck's sake.
Also, I'm going to attribute this one specifically to Sakurai, and I'll explain why in a second, but we've got a Nintendo game with a dedicated accessibility menu in it that's actually called accessibility, and has presets and has things like color outlines around your character to make them easier to see, things like field of view changing for making it easier to less likely to cause motion sickness, has the ability to be mapped to a single-handed controller. I'm going to credit Sakurai specifically here. I've got a video up on YouTube where you can sort of see more of the timeline on this, but the short version is Sakurai kind of fucked his hands up working on Smash Ultimate, and then he started making a YouTube channel in the run-up to working on Kirby Air Riders where he talked a lot about his design philosophy. And right around the time Kirby Air Riders is starting, he starts making a bunch of videos about going and checking out accessible video games. He talks a lot about the remake of The Last of Us Part 1, talks about his experiences needing to play Smash Brothers one-handed for a while, and you can see so much of the DNA of what he was researching around that time has turned up in this game, and I'm like, Sakurai, this is a big fucking deal for a Nintendo game? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fair. And that is, you know, we've talked before that often changes come when someone finally experiences these things that need these considerations.
It really does feel like necessity got him doing some research and he went, oh, I could do other stuff while I'm learning the things that would have helped me. And it's like, it's just nice to see.
That's really cool to see. Really cool. And yeah, the accessibility options are very welcome.
I love that all the little Kirby characters look up excitedly at all the accessibility icons. They're all just having little hearts. I'm like, hell yeah.
I love the roster. Like, I've said before about other racing games, like, one of my favourite things of kart racing and other sort of spin-off games is I love it when basic enemies are playable. Like, my favourite Mario Kart races are always going to be things like, you know, Dry Bones is my main, and, like, the Koopa Trooper and like, the Goomba when it turned up, that kind of thing. And Kirby, of course, has, you know, all sorts of weirdo fucking basic enemies. So I'm just delighted that, like, because especially based on how limited the original GameCube game was, like, you could only really play as Kirby, and there were others, but, like, really limited ability to play them. And going by that, and the announcement video Sakurai put out when it was announced, and the network test, I did not expect the depth of the roster to be what it is.
Yeah.
I was delighted to have Cappy in there. Like, you know, I love mushroom stuff. So I was really pleased to play as a mushroom. And then I saw that Marks was playable, and Superstar, like Kirby Superstar is like the Kirby I've got the most affinity for, sort of the longest experience with having played. And Marks is one of my favourite Kirby characters just because, like, it's a cute jester that also basically turns into the cackling weasel from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I love everything about Marks as a thing. That's something for the alt-right grifter mill to latch on to. I've always been a big Marxist, is what I'm saying.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was so happy that he's in it as a character, and I love that unlike Mario Kart, and not to keep comparing them, but that's the $80 game being put to fucking shame here. I do love that it does that thing where characters aren't bound to a single car, but your character choice still does matter. They do have their own unique benefits independent of the vehicles, and of course everyone has a special ability that is unique just to them, as well as a passive. Like, you know, Cappy has the mushroom cap that allows it to take a hit for free, or Waddle Doo or Meta Knight. Both of those will have like their own permanent melee attack that they can do whenever they're near another rider. And the specials are really cool. Like Marks, you know, transforms into that final boss version of the character for a set period of time. But yeah, some real interesting choices for characters. You've got the Taranza from Kirby Triple Deluxe. I know a lot of people have been excited for I can't remember the Lily Loo and Lala Loo.
Oh yeah,
the little balls, the little puzzle balls. Yeah, I'm really fucking pleased with this.
It's a nice little package.
Yeah,
this one.
Like, I was singing Sonic Racing's praises a few weeks back, talking about, like, that's probably the best... it still is the best feeling kart racer I've ever played, in a tactile sense, one of these mascot-y racers. It's the best feeling one. I certainly can't say that about all of the vehicles in Air Riders, but I think I like it just as much for different reasons. I am utterly impressed at how just how content-packed it is. I am a big fan of Kirby anyway. You know, I've been a long-term fan of that series, and I love the character designs of that series so much. So a game in which a whole bunch of those characters are now playable delights me. The full-on character, the car customization. I keep calling them cars, you know what I mean. The options for customization. I've spent so much time playing with getting my decals just right, and it's not just paint jobs. You can put on, like, different accessories, little satellite dishes or tails, and you can customize the effects. Like, you can make little pixel hearts just float off of it if you want. So much has gone into that. Holy fuck.
It's a bloody good game.
And I know it's not entirely fair to keep comparing it to Mario Kart, to, like, use this to donk on that. But Mario Kart World charged $80 and, you know, set the tone for that. And, yeah, solid game. It is, you know, it's a Mario Kart game. It has a base amount of good to it. But, my God, it has been put to shame, the effort that's gone into this one, the Kirby one.
I will disagree a little in as much as, and I'm not going to get hugely into this because we're over the hour, but if I am in the mood to play a racing game that is a racing game, a kart racing game where I have a chance to catch back up if I am behind, and I want to play with other people who maybe aren't as into video games as me, I am a million times gonna pick Mario Kart World over Kirby Air Riders. Fundamentally, as a kart racing game, there are times I'm gonna pick Mario Kart World over this. This is an amazing game I'm gonna pick for reasons completely and utterly unrelated to it being a kart racer.
Oh,
and like
yeah,
I think that's the reason why I'm not I'm finding myself not making the direct comparison. Is these are serving such fundamentally different use cases of why I would play a game like this.
Yeah. Let me put it this way, then, because I don't disagree with the position you're coming from. Let me put it another way. The team behind Mario Kart World would do very fucking well to play that game and take notes. In terms of rewarding the player, because the stickers and the costume unlocks in Mario Kart World are, like, not comparing them as games, comparing their reward systems and how they unlock things for the player. Mario Kart World should absolutely be taking some lessons.
I feel very similarly to the way that I felt after playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is, I don't think it's necessarily fair to expect this bar of quality to be reached by every developer, but I do want every developer to look at what this is doing and go, damn, we could be aiming that way. We should be trying to shoot for those stars.
Yeah, this is how you do it. Because when I saw the price of that, you know me and my opinion on $70 and $80 games. I saw the price of it, and my first thought was, are you fucking kidding me? And as I say, I still maintain no game should be $70. But the fact that I have not spent the past 20 minutes sniping at the price, I think does say a lot, because that is a big offering, what they're putting together. Is it as pretty as a lot of the other games you could find by Nintendo at the moment? No. Does it look better? Sort of, because it's just so fucking bonkers visually. And just in terms of the value prospect, it blows every other $70 game out the water that I've played, certainly. It's just offering so much in comparison. Yeah. I realise we spent a long time on that one. I really didn't expect to spend that long on it, but there's a lot to get through with it.
It's a good old game. I can understand how they did 2 different hour-long Nintendo Directs trying to explain this game. Are we good to do one little newsy story before we wrap up today?
Yeah, let me just... And I will be brief, because I did play one other game, and I just want to let people know that if you're buying Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, maybe don't bother with the Nintendo Switch 2 one, because it's not ugly, it's not bad, it's not necessarily broken. It is like playing it on a PC set to medium settings back when the game first came out. And I am very surprised. Like, I am disappointed and surprised that the Switch 2 version of Tomb Raider 2013 looks as subpar as it does.
I've been playing it, and my takeaway was, on a handheld screen, this looks decent enough. I kind of was craving that game, and I wanted to play it handheld. Yeah, this'll do.
Yeah, I played it...
It's not blowing me away, but...
No, I played it handheld at first, and, like, I like that game. I like that game quite a bit. I played it while I was at Stupendium's place. I came back, put it on the TV, and I'm like, holy fuck, there's this puzzle here where I've got to shoot through holes in a chain link fence, and I can't see the chain link fence unless I aim my bow, because the texture popping is that bad. And it gets worse as you go on with the textures. Like, it's not like it's bad. I'm just like, no, this should be better than this.
For me, it was one of those, if I wanted to play it looking as nice as possible, I've got a PC, that's where I'd be playing it. I fancied it handheld. It's a decent handheld version.
Yeah,
I hadn't really bothered to try it on the telly.
It's more a case of, like, this is doing the Nintendo Switch 2 a disservice. Like, it's one of those things that's making the hardware look bad.
Yeah.
And, yeah, having Tomb Raider portable, that's cool, but, mate, what are they doing? I'm just very surprised and disappointed in that. So, yeah, that was just something I wanted to quickly get out.
The one newsy bit, I think, and we don't have to talk a huge amount about this, but I think it's worth keeping an eye on this story as it's developing, is we have an update on the Rockstar... We're going to call it union busting.
Yeah,
it feels pretty clear it's union busting. So there was a report by People Make Games, who do great work, this week, and they, in a video, showed off some messages from a Discord server sourced from someone at Rockstar who believes, like, these messages are what Rockstar is claiming are grounds for dismissal. The short version, to gloss over and summarize it a little bit, basically, a while ago, Rockstar's, as a company, in their company Slack, they got rid of a bunch of non-work related channels where co-workers could just socialize with each other. Things like hobbies, pets, channels that existed so that you can talk to the other people you work with about things that are not your work and have some kind of social community at work. They got rid of these channels and basically said, fuck you, anytime you spend typing in those Slacks is time you're not being productive at work. We want to increase productivity, so we got rid of your social channels. No more talking to each other unless it's about work. And some screenshots of that email were posted in the union-forming Discord.
And now, just to add a clarification, that the reason that these got posted there is that this email went out after working hours in the UK. And due to Rockstar's inability to maintain their security, you can't access your work email outside of the Rockstar offices. So that was why this wound up in this Discord, to communicate information to these people who couldn't get their email.
Yeah, to go, hey, just so you know, when you come in tomorrow, you won't have the ability to socialize with your co-workers. That's kind of shit. That's maybe relevant to discussions of forming a union. But the argument seems to be that, like, someone in this Discord went and tattled to Rockstar and went, oh, someone shared a screenshot of a work email in a Discord, and Rockstar considers sharing that email that says, hey, you're not going to be able to talk about your pets in Slack anymore, as gross misconduct, as the equivalent to, like, I don't know, sending a video of GTA 6 being played or something. They're like, you showed the people you're forming a union with an email about the fact they won't get to chat about their pets at work anymore. 30 plus people get fired.
You shared vital company secrets that give us a competitive edge. Our changed Slack policy. Like, come on, get a grip.
But
yeah.
But what if Sega, right, hadn't realised that if you stop all of your workers from having a social life and an opportunity to unwind, they'll be more productive, which is definitely what would happen. Like, now everyone knows the secret. Now everyone knows that making your workers less happy is good for work. Now everyone knows the secret to Rockstar's success.
Yeah.
I hate everything.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry there's no happy ending on this, but yeah, that seems to be what Rockstar's angling as definitely not union busting.
It really, really just does not hold up to any kind of smell test. Like, so I can't imagine it's gonna fly with the courts as a justification.
No,
yeah.
like...
Also, side note, I don't think 30 people shared this email. My gut instinct is that Rockstar considers anyone who, like, reacted to the email, like, who clicked a reaction, like a thumbs up or something on Discord, as having interacted with leaked material, and, like, that's probably how the net got as big as it did.
They absolutely cast that wide net on purpose, and, yeah, just went scorched earth with it.
Yeah.
And I know you know, we talk about trying to end this show on a positive note and not leaving people depressed. The thing with this is, we discussed the bit that was shitty weeks ago. Right now, we're into the absurd part. We're into the, like, obviously, it still fucking sucks for the people who were affected. But to at least try and not linger on the negative aspects of it, and what I think will be hopeful for the people who were negatively affected, is Rockstar over fucking stepped here.
Big
and
time.
they will not get away with it. Like, we're used to seeing corpos get away with a lot, but sometimes you see them step in such a thing that, yeah, it's not going to kill them, but this is one they're not going to win.
The thing is, like, this has a real backfire potential. Because now you've not only, like, made a bunch of people pissed off at you and set an example that would encourage them to organize, but you've also demonstrated, possibly, you know, assuming that this goes the way it seems it's going to go, that you are not impervious, right? That you can be beaten. And that's only going to inspire more people to become part of the union and strengthen it. So they fucked up.
You just got me thinking of the narrator from Darkest Dungeon. Just, they can be driven back. They can be beaten. But no, like, this... You can't take down a company like Rockstar, but you can bloody their nose. You can do the ending of 300. You can show that Xerxes can bleed. It's that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any millimetre of spilled blood when it comes to these corpos is blood worth spilling. That's not me calling to arms.
That's metaphorical.
Physically, that's in Minecraft. Actually, no, it's not. It's not in Minecraft because Microsoft supports genocide.
You want them to bleed politically.
Yeah, I want them to bleed in Kirby Air Riders. I want to repeatedly drive over them in the Tank Star, metaphorically. But yeah. Obviously, this is a really shit situation, but this is to unions what EA's Battlefront was to loot boxes. It's one of those ones where it's like, they push too far, and that's going to set things back for them.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yeah.
But again, just say best of luck, because, you know, some good people were fucked by that, and just best of luck with it. And yeah, fuck Rockstar.
Indeed.
Well,
yeah, I think that's it.
All right.
Well, you know, something Rockstar is rubbish. Laurie, you rock and are a star. That'll do. That'll do. That's true. Sorry, that seemed like it was insincere. You do rock and you are a star.
No, it seemed sincere. I was very appreciative.
Oh, well, that's good, because that is intended. And I imagine you intend now to tell our listeners about all of your great stuff, what you do.
Yeah, you can find the stuff what I do at Laura K Buzz, most places on the internet. Hey, go check out the GA Conf Awards, the Game Accessibility Conference's Accessibility Awards for the year. I'm nominated for 2 awards this year. The Advocacy Award and Best Journalism. I did a piece, I wrote a piece called Don't Call Your Video Game Accessible for Everyone. It is one of, I think, 5 nominees for Best Accessibility Journalism this year. Voting is up until Saturday, maybe Sunday of this week. I would really appreciate a vote if you go. There's links in there and explanations of why people are nominated for things. There's a link to the article. Go read that article if you think it's good. Give me a vote. I'd love that. Other than that, Friday this week, I've got an episode of Accessibility going up about how we could be incorporating accessibility tags onto physical game boxes and the reasons that is worth fighting for, the barriers that exist to doing it, and the paths forward that I think are very reasonable toward that goal. That's going up on Friday. Please check it out. What about you, Conrad? Where are you at on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at Conrad Zimmerman on Blue Sky, and you can hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/thatconradzimmerman. I'm on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. You could buy anti-capitalist propaganda and Jimquisition merchandise. There's hoodies, there's stickers, and buttons that make great stocking stuffers if you have to engage in the horrific capitalist exercise that is the holiday season. And everything that I do gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/ Did I say the name of the website? I'll fix it later.
I can't remember.
I'm too ADHD to know if you did or not.
And everything that I do gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And you know who else has a Patreon? Stephanie Sterling.
Poyo Chonka! That's what it says on my Kirby Air Riders license. And I am a Poyo Chonka. And my Patreon is patreon.com/Jimquisition, which supports this podcast. It supports reviews on thejimquisition.com. And it supports the Jimquisition / Hi Steph, which has a new script. It's done. It's in the bag. My aim is to have that up this coming Monday. Certainly next Monday, if not. And then we will have the year-end stuff. But yeah, things are... Stefan Meet is back on the menu. So that's very exciting stuff for everyone who isn't me, because I have to work with YouTube again. I say have to. I
will put subtitling that back on my calendar.
Yes, sorry. I should have messaged you first.
It's all good. I can jump on it. It's all good.
Are you available?
Yeah, I'm available.
Yeah, I only just got round to telling people I actually wrote the script.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's all in the bag. So that's coming soon. Until then and after then, you can check out my writing work in Vampire Survivors, Date Everything, and Quantum Witch. Vampire Survivors: The Grimoire is a book I'm co-writing that will be out in the first half of next year. There will also be some other literary endeavours that will be announced in the future. And yeah, just a lot of work going on with that still. And I'm excited about all of that. So we will see you next week, where we will have more stuff to talk about. And that's that. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.